Okay, portfolio review. Okay, are you seeing that?
Yep.
Yes.
Almost people. They stop me in my tracks, these almost people, fashioned from fiberglass and dressed to impress. Their personalities cry out for recognition. Their expressions plead to be seen and understood. I have a special relationship with them. Record their presence in my world with a photograph that acknowledges their almost personhood.
Yes.
They give me their names. I provide a glimpse into their lives.
Well, with the meeting.
Oh, I got to click on the other window. One moment.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I sent you the dates, 12th to the 14th.
Jennifer, you want to mute?
Okay, right.
Madeline visits the city. Yolanda anticipates the arrival of her brother. Finally in the spotlight, Mercedes sings from her heart. Visiting from Russia, Magna assesses her surroundings. Corinne is ready to defy any authority. Jim the lineman has spent too much time in the sun. Giselle dares anyone to stand in her way. Lily awaits a call from her agent. Dirk dreams of a brighter future. Daniel and Kelly are in the throes of new love. Okay. Discussion?
What I really like is that besides, I mean, the totally wonderful visual of imagining these things. I mean, that it's perfect. I really like how Trisha decided to put, if you go to her, say the next one, just pick one, go to the second one, that she chose to put her text into her image. Because what happens is, even though the thing on the bottom there has it's not as noticeable. And what we've learned for when they do show the winners in that, and you provide music, there's no words.
There's no titles, yeah.
There's no titles. So anything you did that gives, understanding or joy or fun is gone. So I haven't done this, but I'm considering it. So what do you think of those titles underneath? I think it helps, given
That
what
doesn't
they are.
that doesn't violate any rules, does it?
There's no rule. There's
Okay.
no rule at all.
I thought it was very effective.
Yeah, I like it
And
too.
the consistency of each of the titles for the images and the style of each of the images themselves really all fit together wonderfully.
Thank you.
There was so much continuity, in terms of the use of color and the I guess clarity and kind of stylized look for all of them. It was really, really good.
No
You
two
named
images.
all the women.
No two images in a row are facing in the same direction, so that keeps the interest.
Oh, I didn't notice
Is the
that.
color at the bottom changing according to the picture? I didn't notice.
No,
How
I
did
wonder
you do
if
that?
that would I wonder if that would enhance it if you made it. It really fits the first one. It matches. After that, the color isn't, see how that's it's in the buildings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I wonder if the following ones, if you picked a color from the picture for your background of your text.
I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah,
True, but at the same time, it could cause a distraction in that the judge would be noticing, that the colors are linked. And I don't know if you want them to spend their time noticing that linkage.
I mean, I noticed that the first one really matched. And then after that, it's kind of like, oh, I wish it did. So I could, picking a neutral color, something
Yeah.
like the gray underneath her eyes or something that is like not the turquoise.
I have a critique on this particular image. I don't know if anyone else is seeing it, but on my monitor, the lower left reds appear slightly blown out and the detail is lost.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a suggestion on how to address that?
one
Recover your highlights.
And another easy way to do it, since you can do anything with this, you could do in Photoshop, for instance, go over to her hat, say at the upper right of her hat, and take your clone tool at a very, very low opacity on a separate layer, and then go over it so that it's adding a texture. Besides a bit of other color, and then you're not having, because you may not be able to retrieve the color, and it'll be it's a really good trick to deal with that. You can do that with clouds and things like that, and also the colors.
It may be a lot easier to just brush over the area and desaturate slightly. That may bring it back. As opposed to desaturating the whole image.
Yeah, right. No, I got it. Thanks.
Try the low opacity clone trick.
Will do.
You can also then change the blending mode to see if that does something nice too.
Yeah, you could duplicate it as a second layer and then not only change the blending mode, but change the opacity of the blend.
Well, that's what I'm,
Yeah, different ways to get to the same result.
Or find another image that has more texture and.
Oh, this would take like a few minutes. It's really.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'll give it a try. Thank you.
So I agree that the titles are really what kind of make it, because it brings the whole thing to life. And I think they jive with the images for the most part. There was only one, I think it was Corrine, where I didn't see, like, her face didn't seem to match for me what was being expressed. So I was just wondering, yeah, I mean, I guess there's the Che Guevara hat, maybe that is the defiance of authority.
oh, it's the chin sticking out, that
Yeah, for me it
sort
was.
of fighter's chin,
Yeah, but I
She
guess
looks
I wasn't,
aggressive.
yeah. I mean, her eyes, it didn't, I didn't see like aggression.
Well, sort of the beret cap is in that direction.
I'll consider that.
It might be
See what you're saying.
Corinne is ready to question authority. She has a look of wondering or questioning.
Or she's waiting for instructions to carry out the plan or something like that.
Defy is such a great word.
Yeah,
I love questioning authority.
I mean, I could see maybe if you're doing something to bring out more drama in the chin and the mouth? Like more contrast or
Mm.
definition? I don't know what
Yeah.
would do it, but something that
Well,
would give that
And the parting of the lips there, if, you know, defy is often more red.
I think it's her eyes for me that they don't look defiant. They
Hmm.
look receptive.
Thanks.
make some rays come out of her eyes.
Maybe.
I love this one.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hi.
Looks painful.
Yeah.
He's
It's
still
not-
there.
Heritage salvage.
Heritage salvage, yep, years
Yeah.
ago.
I might consider spot touching to brighten the pupils or the iris of the eyes slightly,
Mm.
because so much is in his look off to the side.
Mm.
Okay. What
Now
about
here,
Red lips. The red lips has kind of got that defiant.
that, that stripe of green at the top left? Should I clone that out?
I would think so. I think.
Mm-hmm.
if not clone it, you know how the lower left has the angled scrim,
Yeah,
make it sort of an equivalent scrim in the upper left.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
But the right iris, somehow it looks, it's almost like there's very little white and very big iris. Does that,
should I say that she's on drugs?
no, these are mannequins. We don't expect proper anatomy.
So
Close, but not perfect.
Oh, she's a
Yeah, that's perfect.
The glare on the left frame of the sunglasses, you can add a little contrast where the eye is so you can see the eye better.
Or dehaze.
It'll take the glare off the sunglasses.
maybe you should change your name to Taylor. No, Lily's good.
Lily's great.
It's funny because I was thinking of a Russian name instead of Dirk, but Dirk
Dirk.
makes it even funnier.
Ivan.
Dirk
Yeah.
from Amsterdam.
Ivan.
Fun.
Oh,
Is it, is the dream spelled Areem?
Ah,
The D,
Oh, I
Looks
bet
like
it,
the
No,
Yeah.
it's a
top of the
D.
D's gone.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where do you find these?
This one was in Amsterdam and so was the last one. Lily was in Sebastopol.
Oh my gosh.
even though it's a proper part of clothing on the sleeve, you might clone out the button. Kind of distracting.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Her arm looks broken.
It might be.
Yeah, it might be.
Could be. It's not even her arm, you know?
No, the hands are too big for her.
They kind of.
But she's a
There's
So,
man.
so is her forearm. It's too long.
There's something on the bottom right that I just now noticed. I wonder if that's something I ought to get rid of too.
Hmm.
Or tone it down, darken it.
Tone down that purple hair thing a little bit. At the bottom.
At the bottom, that's what it looks like, huh?
That little line on the bottom right, the pink line.
Uh-huh.
And I need to go back. I forget which one we skipped. I think the lighting on this one is very good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
My
I
favorite.
like the reflection of the city.
Good start.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Now this version, this must be
Well-
an old version of Mercedes because I took out those little lines on her neck.
Oh.
Mm.
So I have to replace her.
Now, on your overview, I tend to put the title on the top. You don't have to, but you can.
Mhm.
And you seem to have plenty of space. And since your title kind of is really so intriguing, it might be
But-
useful.
But you mean almost people or?
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, the title.
I
yes.
was late, so I want to read this again, okay?
Okay.
Oh, you want to read the
Yeah,
whole
sure.
thing again?
Mhm.
That's great, I think.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
I wish you could clone yourself into a mannequin
Oh,
as one of the people.
Ivan.
All of this reminds me, and I'm trying to remember what program was, Twilight Zone, I think, of mannequins that come to life for a day. They're up in storage on the 9th floor, which no one can go to. But for one day, they become humans and they go out into the world, and then they come back and they can't quite remember what it is they are
Hmm.
until they kind of fight to go back to being a mannequin.
That sounds like Twilight Zone.
So, yeah, okay. Anything else?
I was wondering if, is there too much space between the top row and the bottom row?
Okay. They don't evaluate this, but I still think that the better it looks, the better it is. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Anybody else think that?
Well,
You could make a
it's got,
case for that.
this image kind of throws off your spacing with the top
Mhm.
row.
Yeah.
If you did a proportional downsize of dragging one corner so that usually when you do rows, at least one edge should be aligned.
These are all aligned to the middle.
what
Hmm.
I agree about making the sunburned dude proportionally smaller. And what I would do is I would take the ones in the bottom and pull them closer together, more like the distance in the second row. And then I would move the first one, the first two over to the right, and I'd write almost people in where the first image is right now.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
almost people would then reinforce what it is what you were doing. So when they're looking at it, it's especially with yours, I think it's like, oh yeah, almost people. You know, I could see it being, powerful.
Is there anything in the rules about not putting text in the overview image?
I've always done it and I've won.
Okay, good.
Sounds like
So
it's
there.
okay.
Verified.
Great suggestions, everybody. Thank you very much.
Very
I
fun.
have a question on the overview.
Pardon me?
Pardon?
Yeah, on the
I have a
overview.
question on the overview.
Okay,
Let
I
me-
understand that all of the images have to be of the same aspect ratio,
no, they
but do
don't.
they all have to be the same size?
No,
Can
they
one be
don't.
bigger than the other?
Yeah, you can make one all big. You can do whatever you want as long
And
as
they don't
it's
have
the
the
same
same
aspect.
aspect ratio.
So, and do they have to be in the same sequence
Yes,
as what the portfolio is?
Yes.
yes.
Top left to bottom right?
Yep.
Okay.
So what is the judge looking for on this overview? Is it the uniformity of tonality,
No,
color?
it's what they judge from, but only to remind themselves of what the actual images were. The images themselves are what gets judged. They tell the judges, part of the training was, this is not an image that you're to judge, but people are affected by how it looks. So the better I can make it look, the better it's going to be for me.
So how do they use it? The
They
overview?
use it, instead of going one by one for all the images, they look at this and they talk about, all right, number 2 in the top row, number 7 in the, wherever it is. And it's just a reminder for them of what the sequence felt like, which images they're evaluating.
Okay, but they do look at the images first
Yes, they look
before,
at
before going
they
to
do it
this.
in exactly this order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, from the beginning of the portfolio competition a few years ago, Nancy and I didn't want the overview image at the beginning because it takes away the element of surprise.
Right.
Yep.
So we sort of petitioned to get it moved to the end, which they did.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I have a thought for you, Tricia, for your
Okay.
consideration.
Sure.
If you were to take the last image and put it in sequence number 4 or 5, it's the only image that has 2 figures. And if you could arrange all the others so that they're looking at them in the overview
Oh.
page, because I think
We
that
have
might
to
have
be in the same order.
a positive effect. And maybe they're looking for love.
They're
In all the wrong places.
That would actually add meaning to the overview image where it's not expected.
but the overview image
Exactly.
has to be in the same order. And what I'm looking at is, how does the sequence operate in terms, for me particularly, especially of color? And I don't want a lot of,
Bumps in the road.
color wise.
Right.
I like the idea in terms of how it looks for the overview, but I
Right.
also really like that Trisha picked the only one with 2 people in it and with such emotion for the end. And it's kind of like, it's like the end, they lived happily ever after, whatever. So it's a good ending to the story, even if the overview would look better, but the overview is the least important in terms of judging, but it's
Right.
used for judging. But here they'd
Yeah.
look and say, oh yes, and look, and it ended up with, the people, even though visually I agree with Greg.
The thing that I noticed in all of the singular images is that you could also see a look of envy in their eyes.
Right.
That's why I thought that
The
might be
voyeurism.
something.
That takes away from their
I can see what
individual
you're saying.
personalities, though. I like how they each have a different personality.
Mhm.
They do.
Okay.
Cool, Trisha.
Thanks, everybody.
Very cool.
Wonderful.
Really
job.
nice.
Wow.
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
Ooh.
Storm
Okay.
chasing. Storm chasing is an exciting visual experience with a large, multisensory component. The ephemeral excitement of clouds, rain and lightning can be captured with a camera. The sensations of sudden wind, stinging rain, raging thunder, and sharp temperature drops can only be suggested. My intent is to convey the visual aspects while conjuring up the multisensory experiences in the viewer's memories and imaginations.
Oh, misspell on the last word.
Ah, yes. Thank you.
I gotta get an E in there.
I was really intrigued with the whole thing, just listening,
Yeah, me too.
Can't wait.
because
Yeah.
we know what's coming, something really good.
I have a comment on using multisensory twice. You might see if you can find a different synonym for multisensory.
That's a good
Oh.
suggestion too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like your font and everything.
Yeah, me too. It's
That
pretty.
is great.
And the
Yeah.
color.
That's always the
Sensory
most fun
is-
part is messing around with the fonts.
And the background
like-
color. is
Like
nice.
that font.
Yeah, it's like
Papyrus.
a thunderstorm color.
I think it's papyrus or something like that.
Right.
Cool.
Now, what you could do is make your last thing about your intent as a separate paragraph, because people have trouble reading big blocks.
Mhm.
Oh,
Ah,
Do we want to first go through it and then come back and critique it?
okay.
sounds good.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh,
The visual aspects of storms include clouds, lightning, and rain. Approaching thunderstorms are preceded by wind and accompanied by rain and cool temperatures. The first challenge is to find a storm. This may involve using weather websites and driving many miles to find one and get out ahead of it. Late afternoon is prime chasing time. Clouds often take on sunset colors, sometimes enhanced by rainbows.
Mm.
Storm clouds can sometimes obscure lightning bolts for a different type of light show. The details of lightning bolts are far different from the ephemeral experience of a solid shaft of light. A delightful bonus of the time-freezing aspect of photography. And there it is, a bolt from the sky striking the earth, followed by a loud crash of thunder.
Oh.
Sometimes it all comes together. A light show in the clouds, a multi-pronged bolt, a backlit mountain, and the onrush of wind with the threat of imminent rain. A conjunction of atmospheric phenomena. Wow. Thunderstorms can be huge. This one, seen from Tucson's Mount Lemmon, is 100 miles away in Mexico, and yet it is dwarfed by the Milky Way above it.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Just gorgeous.
Yes.
Before I forget, does anyone find the streak at the upper left distracting?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I just loved it because I think it's a meteorite. Or a meteor, actually. Because it's not an airplane, it wouldn't be going down that steeply, but I can take it out if you think it's distracting.
Or mention it,
Or mention it, yeah.
or mention it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, are you saying yes, take it out, or no, don't take it out?
Or mention it in your title.
Talk about it in your title.
Oh, mention it, okay.
You only have so many characters,
Yeah,
but
I
change
did
it.
pretty much use up my things, all right, but I'm gonna make a note of that.
Well, I noticed that just one of the images was not a complete sentence. And I was
Yes,
going to
here.
suggest just doing dot, 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 and then a lowercase to take care of that.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that fits with the
Okay.
one before, but
Let's see.
The images are stunning.
Yes.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see, where was that?
I think, Jennifer, one of the things that I found distracting was all of the exclamation points. I don't think I would use any.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
yeah.
Wow.
No, don't you just want to be there?
You're just awesome.
Really.
Just awesome.
I bet Amy is chomping to go.
Amy has been there, Amy.
I have been
sorry.
there. I can't wait to go back now.
Yeah,
Wow.
What's the best season?
Summer, like now, late July, August.
Thunderstorms.
Huh.
Yeah, thunderstorm season. It's like monsoon
Good.
season in the
Monsoon,
Southwest.
yes.
Definitely this year. It must have been outrageous with that storm that
Yeah.
just came through.
It was a vertical one that had the fragment.
Yeah, I'm going through in order.
There.
all right, so that you're
That
considering.
had an exclamation point
That was
at the
that
end.
was the one that's it's not a sentence,
Or
it's
the
just a
title.
phrase. It's a
Yeah, just
phrase.
tell us about this one, like you have the others.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last.
I said, tell us about this one like you have the others.
Okay, all right, so this is number 9, okay.
A little more information.
Full
Yeah.
Number
sentence.
9 is really fine.
Good.
Look at the lighting on the foliage below. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And is that a sort of distant ridge also?
Yeah, it's kind of misted out with the
Yeah,
rain that's coming down.
Oh, amazing.
I think the cropping is very good on this.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do too.
I really think one of the most interesting things to me was that that lightning bolts are much more complicated than you would think just seeing a flash in the sky.
Mhm.
Did you ever get any shots of sprites?
Other people in the group did. We had split into 2 groups, and where I was, we didn't even know about the sprites, but the other people, Terry sent me an article. And I had to write back to her and tell her that was our trip. You know, the people who were with one of the leaders, this guy, Greg, he mentioned the sprites to them. And so they were focusing on that area and they did get sprites. It was just amazing. But
What are sprites?
Yeah.
it's something they only discovered recently. It's some kind of discharge from the lightning that it's red, and it's up above the clouds.
Right,
and
it's
really,
cloud
really
to
interesting.
cloud up of what you're looking at here. Imagine another layer of clouds above these clouds, and the sprites go vertically between the two.
Yeah. They're amazing. The pictures I saw of them, I was so jealous.
Oh, you did just fine.
Yeah, this one looks like a being walking across the hill.
Yeah,
It does.
Kind of like a
Something
Lightning man.
lightning monster.
I need to compare. I'm gonna look at a couple other bolts. I'm trying to compare something. And let's see. Okay, minor critique. Do you see, let's see if my cursor goes there. Do you see a kind of dark halo around the bolt
Mm-hmm.
on this? Whereas when you look, at other bolts, they don't have that halo.
Hmm.
And
I'll
sometimes
just
that,
look back at that and see it.
whoop, let me
I
go
can
back.
see why.
Let me go back. Let's see.
Yeah, now that you point it out. I
Yeah,
see.
there's a halo around the bolt, which
Now,
Mm.
also, is that a sensor dust thing under the cloud on the right of his hand? Or a bird?
Um,
where are you looking?
Or maybe it's on my screen.
oh.
Oh,
Green.
Never mind.
Yeah, it's funny, you don't see it in the bottom bolts, or maybe a little bit. I will go back to that one and see what I did during the.
yeah.
Sometimes it's processing.
Yeah,
See
I'll
what
see
the
if it was
original
that,
is.
or I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
sometimes adding structure or adding some local contrast can produce that. And sometimes there's another slider that modifies the intensity of the effect. And I found sometimes when I get this kind of halo, if I take that intensity slider down, the halo disappears.
Yeah, I'll be able to see that on the image in Lightroom to see what I did there. Thank you. That's a good. This is number. I don't know which number it is. It's the first bolt.
It's the electric man.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah,
5,
see.
number 7.
Yeah,
Love the
totally,
pink in this one.
totally clean, no
Beautiful
halos.
colors here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the pink is cool.
All the little branches.
the
of the
face?
lightning. Wow.
You see the nose and the mouth in that cloud, the
And
lenticular.
eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a cart. Oh, and the eye. Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. Somebody's watching.
That's gorgeous.
Ah,
Yeah.
amazing.
There's another eye.
Mhm.
Oh, I'd love to see this.
I know.
And it was an amazing trip. I really liked it.
Wow.
How long were you gone, Jennifer?
Was really only 4 days of actual shooting.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah. But it can end up being late nights, and it was 113 degrees some of the days.
yeah,
And,
really intense.
good
I'm
grief.
sure.
it's kind of exhausting, but it was really neat.
And worth
Did they go over safety a lot?
Did they go over what?
Safety? How to stay safe?
Oh, no, we were just in Arizona. Just is that what you're asking? Different
No, I'm
states?
asking if they went over how do you stay safe when you're doing this kind of work.
keep from getting injured.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not close to them. You use a bit of a telephoto lens. Only once did the Actually, the storm came fairly close. The lightning didn't, but the storm did, and we got rained on. But before the rain, this really sudden cold wind comes out of it. It's just amazing. And then you start getting spattered with rain. And then we all grabbed our cameras and tripods and headed for the vans. But we
Okay.
were, the actual lightning was like 6 to 10 miles away.
Mhm.
It's big. It's just unimaginable how big these lightning bolts are.
Wow.
Way higher than the mountains. You know, they're just giant.
Mm.
Technical critique.
Yes.
Does anyone perceive this as being a bit noisy?
Mm.
Mm.
Not on mine, but I'm small.
Same here.
Because when I look kind of in this area, the noise starts to take on kind of a grid look.
Denoise.
I don't see a grid, but you know, it is rain, you know, raindrops coming down.
Right.
And everything was run through denoise, you know, the
Mhm.
new Lightroom denoise. But you know, I'll go back and look at that. This
You know,
is
I use DxO and they've got 4 different AI denoisers.
4
And
different ones.
right.
Yes.
And the last one, you know, on a troublesome photo, it'll take about 5-10 minutes to process, but it
Mhm.
does incredible stuff.
Did Garth really love it, and did he get some good stuff?
He got some of this stuff. He did not. Yeah, I started preparing this for this in December, and I got the fancy lightning detector.
Mhm.
He procrastinated, and finally ended up getting a less expensive lightning detector, but it didn't work very well. It turns out it was probably not the lightning detector, but it was an older cord that he was using that was kind of ratty. So he didn't get as much, but he had a wonderful time. He just loved it.
That's great.
Well, thank you very much for these suggestions. And I will really go back, especially at the spelling error. That was terrible. Okay, I will go back and check these things.
This
I like your
arrangement-
layout.
Yeah, the layout's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
The lower right image looks slightly out of alignment with the images to the left.
Huh, it could be. Oh, yeah. It because it was so dark, I may not have done it right, or I may have put the stroke around it afterwards, and so the stroke makes it bigger. I don't know, but I will check on that too.
Yeah, if you
The alignment.
drag a corner and do the proportional resize, like drag
Yeah.
the right corner down, it would probably bring it back into alignment.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It makes a pink line when it gets in alignment, but it's possible that I didn't stop soon enough after I saw
Yeah.
that line.
It's hard to see the Milky Way in that last image in the overview.
Yeah.
And it would be great to remind the judges about that, because it's, you know, that the convergence of those phenomenon is really cool.
I
Mhm.
did mention that in the, I think I'm pretty sure I did in the title of that.
No, you can see it in the actual photo, but in this overview, it just
Yeah.
looks kind of black, the sky.
Oh, I
over-
see, because it's so small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It-
I don't know if
Is
there's
it-
anything you can do about that.
Is it my perception, or are the spaces, you know, there's 3 images on each line, and the space between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 seems slightly different. There's, I forget how it is, but you can select all 3 and have it do a proportional
Yeah,
thing to
it
where
usually it pops up when they become exactly the same. It
Yeah.
tells you how many pixels between each image and the one next to it. And I was aware of that, but again, may have not stopped moving it soon enough. So I will check that too.
And it might be the contrast that makes it look different.
It could be.
Or it could be somewhat of an optical illusion caused by the stroke.
Yeah, that could be
It
too.
all looks the same to me,
Yeah, it looks good.
pretty consistent.
Okay. On to the next one.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful.
Good job.
Okay. Invasive weed increasing wildfire risk in Sonoma County. 5 months after the deadly 2017 North Bay wildfires, a super germination of dormant Scotch broom seeds occurred within the burn zone. Where allowed to grow unabated, green carpets of densely packed seedlings matured into 10-foot tall yellow flowering plants, each broadcasting over 10,000 seeds annually, choking out indigenous plants and heightening the risk of more intense wildfires. The intent is to expose the issue and show that Scotch broom can and should be eradicated.
Interesting.
And
Oh, that's now, Greg, was that yours?
Yes, says his name.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's mine, Steve.
Okay, so let me scroll down to your next image so that
I just want to say, when it says no more than 75 words, that also includes the words, number of words in the title, just so you know. So if you have 75 in the bottom, it needs to be a total of 75 between the top and the bottom.
Oh, really, including the title.
Yeah, it says that in the rules.
Okay.
It includes the title. I thought the title was just no more than 10 words and then the,
Or more
Yeah.
than 10 words, but when you sent me off to look at that, I think it was you, yeah. That the 75 words is a combination of
of the
the,
title. And geez, I better check mine.
Yeah,
and you could double check me on that.
I'll double check you. I thought it was pretty.
is this the first one, Greg? Or
1 of 12.
excuse me. Greg, is this the first one in your sequence?
Yes, it is, Steve.
Okay, so I'll go through. First dead tree cut after Tubbs fire. First down tree with appearance of flames on trunk, directing attention toward destroyed home. First down tree 5 months after fire, surrounded by Scotch broom seedlings. Deer skeleton, surrounded by Scotch broom seedlings. Sea of Scotch broom seedlings surround dead trees marked for cutting. Contrast between managed and unmanaged properties 5 years after Tubbs fire. Compare with previous image. Foot-tall Scotch broom choking indigenous plants and trees.
10 foot tall.
I'm sorry, I missed the 10-foot at the beginning. 1,000 seed pods on one Scotch broom plant 5 years after Tubbs fire.
Wow.
3 burst Scotch broom seed pods with scattered seeds. 10 seeds from each pod.
Jeez.
Burned tree expires 4 years after Tubbs fire. Rebuilt home and background. Rebuilt home threatened by overgrown vegetation 5 years after Tubbs fire.
Wow.
Oh.
Papers.
Yeah.
Foreboding clouds depict flames over weed-infested property today within Tubbs Fire burn zone. So now I'm gonna scroll way back to the top. Okay,
Wow, what a disaster for the environment.
We almost need an army of Scotch broom abatement people.
Yeah, that'd be a great job. So Greg, I have a question about this image. Is it your intent to have this be your statement of intent image?
No, it's not.
Okay, great.
I just did a screenshot of a Word
Okay,
file that I had so I could get the intent on tonight's program.
okay, great.
But I do
That's great.
intend to put it in a similar format as what I've seen already.
You might consider shortening that title. So, because you have to put it on each picture. And it's really long and it really is going to cut down on what you can say of the rest of it. So if you just put something like weeds and wildfire or something like that, it might be.
Or even Scotch broom.
invasive weed risks wildfire.
How about invasive weed increasing wildfire risk?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still
Dro-
really
drop
I think
long.
that's a good suggestion.
yeah,
It
drop
cuts
off
into your
in
200
Sonoma
characters.
County.
And what about increases?
Mm.
Invasive weed increases wildfire risk.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
better.
My sense of the statement of intent compared to the images is that I was lost for the first few images. I didn't see the connection. I'm looking right away for something about Scotch broom, and I understand what happened, but I don't feel it connected. Like showing a dead tree cut after the Tubbs fire, there's no relationship for me at all to Scotch broom. And you build it, but it's very slow to build.
Yeah, my intent there was to show the same tree over a period of 5 months. So this is, and by the way, I haven't really spent much time on these titles, these subtitles for
Yeah.
each image.
Yeah.
And I could explain it a little bit better with my title. But I wanted to show this same tree. And if you look closely at the tree, you'll see features in it that identify it from image to image.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to show the contrast between no Scotch broom to this super germination over a period of 5 months.
Is
I
there
think
a point
that.
where the burned dead tree essentially creates a zone ripe for Scotch bloom to invade? And something about that kind of point saying the dead tree here has created a ripe zone for Scotch bloom to invade.
I think he has that in a few pictures further down when there's like
Right,
a
but
crop of
this
trees.
it links into the statement of intent and sort of sets it up for the future, how it invades and how it shows up.
Well, let me tell you the biology of this is that where this guy's cutting a tree, there was Scotch broom that was cleared out years ago. And what was laying everywhere in the soil were these dormant seeds. And the fire germinates the seeds.
Ah,
It's a
that's
There you go.
phenomenon.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's your connection right there.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon that occurs with several plant species, but not all. You
Mhm.
know, South Africa is an example where it happens quite readily, but it's a nefarious trait of this particular plant, where it just generates hundreds of thousands of seeds over a 10-year period. And then what fire comes through and they just super germinate. They all start germinating.
I'm gonna go pretty quick, so I just want to say one more thing, which is that I think you have 14 total images. And with your statement of intent all the way through your overview image, which I didn't see, you can have 12 images.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to have to cut some.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
And I also want to say that you all are right. It looked ambiguous to me. I'm looking at the rules, and it appears that you don't add in the title for the 75 words. I think.
Okay. That's good.
There, can I see the overview image one more time?
Okay,
Statement of intent.
I've got to scroll back up and find it. Just a sec.
Just the statement of intent is what I meant. Okay, instead of saying the intent is to expose the issue, I would suggest in this portfolio, I expose blah, blah.
Also, you didn't really talk about how it can be eradicated. You might want to get rid of that word can, show that Scotch broom should be eradicated.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there that one that he showed that where it's been, I forget the word he used, where it was all, there wasn't any, and it was.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
And that shows that it should be eradicated, but it doesn't really show how it can be eradicated. I mean, that's like a whole different subject, how you go about doing that.
If he
But
wanted,
with-
in that one, he could tell how it was managed to get it to not have Scotch broom.
Yeah, and that was a very powerful image. I think that was real important.
Yeah.
And
Hey, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to have to leave. And so if anybody wants a critique from me, let me know and I'll watch the video and do a critique and send it to you. But otherwise, I really appreciate all this and I got to go.
Okay. Have a good dinner.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
In terms of eradicated or should be eradicated, there's fire management. We made the mistake of was it creating too much underbrush, which became fire tinder, by not allowing natural fire. The rules of unintended consequences. If we eradicated Scotch broom, would there be a downstream negative impact to the ecology?
Well, I can speak for being on a road that has Scotch broom that scares the shit out of Gary and me, because we know that it's filled, it's like eucalyptus and that it has oil in it that is, it's like and so you could mention how dangerous it is
Accelerant.
It's highly combustible.
highly combustible,
Like the
Yeah.
eucalyptus trees are.
Right.
like the eucalyptus tree and the bay trees.
And it's also an invasive plant. So the trees that it's growing among are, they didn't evolve along with it. So they don't have defenses against it. It's not just
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of background. The plant itself was imported from Europe, and the Department of Transportation planted it along freeways because it stayed green and didn't require any water. But an unintended consequence was that it just would grow exponentially and expand exponentially, and they couldn't control it. So they've taken it out along the freeways, but it's thriving in these counties where they don't have really good forest management laws and regulations. And yeah, it is highly combustible. And there are other cities in the US that have actually gone to war against Scotch broom.
Mhm.
And I've had conversations with the fire department here in Santa Rosa, and they just blow me off because they know better. So one of the purposes of me putting this portfolio forward is to kind of prepare a presentation to the Santa Rosa City Council
Wow.
to get the ball rolling on hey, we need to manage this stuff because it's really creating high risk for the
Mhm.
community. So that's really the background behind, what I'm trying to do here. And the word count and the image count is pretty constraining for what I'm trying to accomplish, but it's a start.
Mhm.
Great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate the comments, and there's one image in there that I've already thought about taking out, and that's the tree that failed. This was in our backyard. I don't know which image it is. It's like number 8 or 9 in the series. Keep going. Stop. Well, that.
Hmm.
Go
Come
back.
again? I couldn't hear you.
One more. Go back one more.
Oh,
That one.
I like that one.
Well, this is what happens when you don't manage your forest and trees get fire damaged. They may live for 3 or 4 years, like this one did. This is a
Mhm.
60-year-old oak that just snapped 8 feet above ground on a wind-free day.
Mhm.
Just snapped.
I think it's a
And
very
it just shows
effective
that
one.
there's a lot more damage in
Yeah.
a wildfire than just burning down homes.
you
It
might say
devastated the ecosystem.
partially burned tree.
Partially
Partially
burned.
burned tree survived and then expired 4 years later.
That's right.
Oh, and I see you're capitalizing everything. You don't have to, because this is more like caption rather than title. And it reads
Okay.
easier without the titling caps.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all the capitals kind of interrupt your visual reading.
Yeah, I got it.
Nice pictures.
Yeah, this is really effective.
Yeah.
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 If they don't get it after seeing all this, they're never gonna get it.
That's amazing. That shot.
This is a really
Wow.
great shot, this one too.
Mm-hmm.
Something as I was going through the repetition of Scotch broom seedlings, it kind of wears on you.
Oh.
I think pictorially, I love the one with the skeleton, but
Yeah.
it doesn't, it just shows seedlings that we've seen, so it doesn't add to this story.
Yeah.
As a standalone, it's very effective.
Yeah, I can take the skeleton out.
You know, if you're looking for, repetition to get rid of, yeah.
Wow.
Do those plants have barbs on them?
No, they don't have barbs.
No, that's
But they're-
Gorst has barbs.
They're actually very incredible plants. They send a taproot down that's almost as deep as the plant is high.
Oh,
gee.
gee.
It just goes deep, and in the springtime when it's wet, you can pull out the little ones, but these big ones have a trunk that's about 2 inches thick,
Wow.
and you have to mow them down with a chainsaw. It's big.
Something about that one with the seeds and being a numbers person, and when I saw 10 seeds for each pod, and I thought, well, that's not 10 times 2, 4, 6. That's not 60. I mean, to me, that would visually fit what you're trying to get across. You know, or
So what you're seeing is 3 pods, 6 half pods.
oh,
So
got
if
it.
you,
Pods.
if you can imagine a pea pod, that's what these look
Oh,
like.
yeah. I might
Like a
even
pea pod.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Just for the showing it, I might even take out 3 of the halves that visually would work, taking them out so that then I go, oh, wow, that's a lot. Just, you know, my response was, that's not very many for all those. Just a thought, you know.
I could explain it in the title. Well, I did 3 burst Scotch-burn seed pods.
Yeah. But what your audience might, and I could just be an anomaly. I am usually.
That's really good.
Yeah, beautiful house. Glad to see it.
Is that mustard or is that
No, that's blooming Scotch
That's
broom.
room.
Wow.
That's from.
Those are your plants with the 10,000 pods each.
Yeah.
Jeez.
now? Even though this is making a point, does anyone find going to black and white at this point, is that adding the drama to the end, or is it somehow visually distracting?
I think it's a
think
nice
it's
standalone.
I think it's a little confusing for the story.
Yeah.
When you say it's a nice standalone, Nancy, are you saying it should be color?
No, what I'm saying is this image by itself with the story is very effective, both with the story and pictorially. So it's actually an excellent, for instance, if you were going to put it into a competition, it's a good single image, effective. But I think as part of the whole, it's jarring. It doesn't,
It throws off the flow.
Yeah.
but it's very effective individually because I did see it like flames, and I thought those are clouds or
Yeah.
flames, or flames. I think it may be the best picture in the whole group.
Mhm.
In your presentation to the fire department, I mean, go ahead. I would add it.
Yeah, or
yeah.
use
Sure.
it as the cover of a,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
what you're going to pass out.
Nice.
So you think the last image should be the one with the house?
Let's see. Let me
Okay.
bring back the title.
That one.
Very much the point is showing how the Scotch bloom is making these areas more prone to fires, wildfires.
The point I'm trying to make is that they make the wildfires more intense by adding biomass to the landscape.
Can we see number 11 again?
See which?
Number 11. Yeah, that's pretty scary.
And that certainly shows the rise of the mass of biomass.
Yeah,
Yeah, good final shot.
okay, got it.
And
Hey, I
having the
appreciate
house
the comments on this.
Yeah, at some point I kind of guess. We'll see.
Okay. Wave action at Goat Rock. Goat Rock is a sea stack in Sonoma County that is connected to the shore by a strip of land used for parking. From this area, breakers can be viewed from different angles as they develop and crash onto the beach. Slow shutter photography captures the patterns of moving water within the wave and can lead to powerful abstract compositions. Fast shutter speeds reveal instantaneous shapes, which are intricate, beautiful, and sometimes familiar. Goat Rock and the parking area, viewed from above. Slow shutter photograph of the roiling surf next to Goat Rock. The rolling motion of a breaking wave. The violence of a collapsing wave. As breakers combine, interesting patterns develop, and sometimes faces appear. A strong offshore breeze blows off the crest as the wave advances. For thousands of years, poets and artists have seen this and visualized plunging white horses. At close range and fast shutter speeds, the plunging white horses are still evident. Viewing from the side reveals the exquisite inner details of the curl. And even under these fast shutter speed conditions, horse-like creatures sometimes appear. Comments?
Gorgeous images, wow.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
I have a thought on this one.
Uh-huh.
You use the word the violence of the collapsing wave, yet because of the slow shutter and the streaking, it feels very gentle.
That was my thought too. I thought it was, beautiful, but not
Mhm.
violent.
So the slow shutter speed transforms the violent collapse of the wave into something almost pristine and gentle.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
graceful.
How about the grace of a
Graceful,
collapse?
yes.
graceful.
Grace of it.
Yes, thank you. Very good.
So going back to the first one.
It's a great composition. I love it.
Yep, the lay of the land and the wall.
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting shot. I've always taken shots of this from the little tiny parking lot over Salmon Beach. So this is a different angle for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the picnic
Seems
area
like-
just above it.
The horizon kind of goes down to the left where the
Mm.
ocean.
I mean, the horizon's not level.
Hard to tell, but yeah,
It
does
was
give that
foggy. It was
feeling.
foggy and it was coming in from the left.
Oh,
Yeah. Looks like,
This is actually a placeholder. I'm waiting for the next big surf, because I decided on this image just about a week ago. And I want to show the waves more clearly in this shot on both sides.
yeah,
But I need more storm. So I've got till October to get some better surf for this shot. So this is,
Yeah,
but
Good
this
view.
this is the shot I like to take. It's just a little more detail in the waves, I think.
Go back to the title, yeah. Yeah, your comment is spot on, because you're about to tell the story of all the waves. And
Yeah,
there's no waves,
exactly.
so it's kind of a weak shot as a result.
Yeah, it's really a placeholder. I hope
Practice.
we get hope we get
Is
some
it-
surf. There's none in the
Consider
forecast.
if it's even necessary to have this shot.
Mhm.
Oh, it's nice to have an overview.
oh, absolutely.
Well, something akin to this that had a little, zoom further out with more of Goat Rock being
More of
there
Goat Rock.
without having to. You don't have to show the entire area of Goat Rock to let the viewer know that it is Goat Rock.
But it's nice.
Well, my intent, my first paragraph, the point of the first paragraph is that this is a unique location that lets you take pictures of the waves from different angles, something you don't normally get when you're just sitting on the beach. So it's actually a fairly unique vantage point, that parking lot. And so that's the purpose of my first paragraph, and that's the purpose of that first picture.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm wondering if you could convey the same thing from a shot from down in the parking lot, looking towards the
perhaps.
waves.
Yeah, perhaps. No, I appreciate the comments.
Like this
We'll definitely look into it.
I think the cropping and the proportions of where the different objects lie, the very high sharpness of the rock with the bird, the slow shutter on the waves, it's candy for the eyes.
Yeah,
That's
super
good.
well done. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, actually, let me see if you have it. Yeah, you have that, but it doesn't give the shutter speed and focus, etc. So I was wondering if, as you progress through the photos, is the shutter speed slowing down in
They're pretty much all about
in-
half a second.
by a half second? So they're not increasing, decreasing, increasing. They're all
Pretty
slowly going down.
They're all pretty much the same
They're all pretty much the same.
For the first half. Yeah, these are all, so these first, I guess it's 4 images are the same.
Okay,
roughly.
So if you go this
one, I took about 40 pictures in order to get the seagull to stand still.
Mm.
Most of the shots showed 2 heads on the seagull.
Beautiful waves.
Love this one.
Yeah, gorgeous.
if you look, it's a good progression of the wave coming up. It's curling further and curling further still.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Nice sequence.
And I think it is nicely broken up by this shot between these shots
Oh, and fast.
and then the curling wave. I think
Yeah.
that's a good placement.
Mhm.
Anything else?
No, appreciate the
You think
comments.
that- I just had a question about the layout, the grid. Does anybody else think that it's a little heavy?
It's a little what?
Heavy?
Too thick, you mean?
lines? Thick.
It really defines the pictures individually.
You mean make the pictures bigger with the thinner grid?
I think I would experiment.
Yeah, good point.
Kinda like a
You might-
window.
You might also consider that I don't think that, I don't know if any of them do, but most do not have black. So you might want to not have it as black because it points out that there isn't a black in the images, perhaps.
Good thought, Nancy.
What's that?
Oh, that's
Good thought.
And that's just food for thought.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Okay. Moving on. Mask styles and styling. Letting it all shine through. Masks are ubiquitous throughout Thailand to combat both horrible pollution and spread of disease. I begin with a Bangkok city bus image, imagining each window as a vignette with its own story to tell, leading me to gather other images illustrating how individual masked portraits still let each personality shine through, along with their stories that are up to each of us to imagine. I visualize each window of the bus portraying its own story to imagine and tell. 3 windows, 3 women, 3 stories. And so many more stories to imagine behind the masks of the young girl at a floating market. The story of the Muslim woman outside a brightly lit store at Christmas. The elderly woman selling lottery tickers. Tickers?
Stickers.
As opposed to tickets
Tickets.
Yep.
on the Lunar New Year. The awe and wonder in the kids' eyes at Bangkok Makers Fair. Would it be Bangkok's?
No,
It's Bangkok Makers Fair.
that's the name of it.
Okay. The young boy giving the, is that Y or way?
Why?
Y. To show respect with a bit of a side eye.
No,
A fleeting glimpse behind a commuter's unexpected mask on Valentine's Day. The construction worker strutting his most unusual yet quite functional mask. Masked dude styling in his matching leather mask and pants. And finally, our tuk-tuk driver friend who should win a prize for most creative use of a mask.
oh, didn't I have a,
Oh, overview, I'm sorry. It was below my screen. I'm just,
Yeah, there you go.
now here, even though the images aren't all in alignment, it actually seems strange that the upper left two and the upper right two are in alignment, as opposed to all the images being slightly out of line.
I
Yeah.
like the way they float.
Yeah,
Did that make sense?
Yeah, I intend them to not be in alignment because to me it's too static.
yeah.
And this to me gives, I don't know.
Well, I was saying it was a negative to have the top
Yeah.
left and the top right be aligned.
Okay, I got it.
Good.
Great pictures.
Yeah.
Wonderful variety of different characters.
Colors. Woo.
Now,
Number two is like very intriguing.
My fave.
Now, I do have one comment overall. Visually and reading, I think you need to decrease the number of ellipses. And anyone who reads my emails and stuff knows I like ellipses, but I think there are too many.
I thought I had too many, some using some of the same words that kind of are in here. And I hear you about ellipses, but it's kind of
As,
artist
what,
choice.
there are, as opposed to having ellipses on both ends of row, think of the meaning of having one or the other as a way of visually pacing the flow.
I will definitely look at that, and I thank you for that. But there were some words that I thought were over too many times, and maybe
Like image and imaging, that kind of thing.
maybe, yeah.
So maybe you don't need the image after bus. And just go, we know it's an image.
Visually.
So you have, it's
Yeah.
on the other page.
Imagine, to imagine.
It was on the intent page.
Oh, okay. On the intent page, okay. Because it's interesting that image and imagine are from the same root. Have the
Mhm.
Right, and you have them right next to each other, so.
Yeah. But what was it? You said it was on the page before?
Yeah,
What-
it's the page
where-
before this one. They, see where it says city bus image, imagining?
Imagining.
Right. And yes. City bus picture or something.
Or
Visualizing
image
each
of,
window.
begin with an image of, and then it wouldn't be
Capture.
right next to imaging.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Capture
Capturing each window? No.
or image bus. Well, never mind. But a different word.
I think on the next paragraph where I had illustrating, I think I had, I also might have had imagining and change it to illustrating.
Alludes to.
Oh, and then we have imagine is in also the last paragraph, the last part. So imagining, image.
Might even
That
just
doesn't bother me.
get
just
rid of
bothers
that
me
first
when you do it in a
image.
row.
though.
Wait, I couldn't hear.
Oh,
I couldn't
sorry.
hear.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
was. Go ahead.
Here's a thought. Run this through something like Chat GPT. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I was writing what you said down. And also I'd like to hear what Jennifer and Anne had to say.
Okay, I was thinking that that second sentence, I begin with a Bangkok City bus, getting rid of the word image.
Ah,
I just begin with a Bangkok City bus, imagining each window as a
Oh,
vignette.
yeah.
So that would get rid of those two words next to each other.
okay, great. Thank you.
I was gonna say the same thing, Nancy.
Ah, great minds.
We think alike, Anne.
Now, in terms of alliteration and pacing, so many of the words begin with I. Images, illustrating, imagine,
Yeah.
individual. Letting it,
Yeah.
is the alliteration on the I too much?
I'm in there. I hear what you're saying, unless it's alliteration is, I don't know.
I think it's kind of nice, actually.
I was
Well-
thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Well,
it makes it personal, you know?
yeah, taking out image after city bus does make a big difference.
So go to the pictures then and see, because I think I have a lot of the same words that I've used.
Okay.
On your title, slight change. Letting it all shine through. Mask styles,
And it's not letting
as
you,
opposed to putting
you-
mask styles at the beginning.
yeah, you
Because
meant,
you've got styles and styling, repetitive.
yeah, but you keep saying letting, and I didn't write letting. I wrote letting it all shine through. And mask styles and styling, I'm using alliteration there because there's a difference between in the pictures, some people have styles of masks and others are styling in their masks. And basically that is what goes
Right,
through.
but you
it
don't
all.
want the judge tripping over that.
And
Do you-
again,
I mean,
yeah, but so here I'm repeating what I wrote in the intent. I visualize each window of the bus portraying its own story to imagine and tell. Maybe I should just get rid of that and just say 3 windows, 3 women, 3 stories.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Simple.
like that.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
do like that
Yeah.
too.
the-
Very nice.
And also, the title all in caps, because it repeats through every image, it makes it very heavy.
Well, the reason I did that is if I didn't do that, what happens is it's really hard to find what I'm writing. By doing that, I found, and I checked this out, I'm big on the visual on that, is that you can find the words that I'm using. Now I'm considering doing what Trisha did and putting putting the text underneath
Within, right,
within the picture. What do you think?
So you'd have to make them a lot shorter to do that.
yeah.
No,
If
I
you do that, it should only be 1 line. 2 lines gets really busy.
Mhm.
Well, what happens is it just gets skinnier.
Yeah.
It doesn't
If
fit in.
if it were possible, I would find going through a portfolio much nicer if you didn't have to repeat the title
title.
on every
Mm.
image.
But I do.
Is that a requirement?
In
Yes.
the title, but if you put it on the actual photo, you could just take a part of that, like just say a young girl at the floating market without putting the whole title on there.
Yeah, there's no requirement to repeat the title
Yes,
if
there
you're
is.
putting it within the image.
Within the image, oh no, I would not do that. I'm just talking about the lowercase, the caption part, the
Yeah.
part that comes after the number. That's what would go in.
But even that, you can just take the essence of that to put on the photo. Just
Yeah.
a young girl at a floating market without having to put so many more stories to imagine and all of that. Just,
Yeah.
it just so happened that Trish's were all short titles, so they fit in there. Yours are more explanatory, but
Yeah.
maybe on the photo, just like a summary thing, something short.
Right. Also, see, you're talking imagining here,
That's going out.
and imagining here.
Oh, no, you, on number 2, that whole, everything is going out except for 333.
Okay.
I visualize is gone.
Yeah.
We already determined that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be there.
This one, I wonder
Oh,
if you
it's-
don't see the floating market. Does
and
that
I
matter?
also, yes, and I also no longer have the sentence if I just say 333.
But you don't have to have a sentence, it's a title.
So I could just say so many stories to
Right.
imagine.
Right.
Yeah, you could.
Yep.
Thank you. This is really helpful. Thank you. You realize I've been working on this for a year.
You're repeating the word story too much. Go on to this and just ellipsis of the Muslim woman. Because they're not saying the story of the young girl, the story of the Muslim woman. You see my point here? Of
Yeah.
the young girl, of the Muslim woman.
Or just the Muslim woman without.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have story here.
Well, right, because
here.
I've
Right.
emphasized it enough, and that's what the ellipsis
Yeah.
is.
I'd take out the story
Maybe-
on this one.
If the one before it has story in it, does it?
Mhm.
Okay, and so
Yeah.
many stories to imagine behind them.
Right. This is the lead to the whole sequence. So, and so many more stories. 3 women,
Oh, and I don't even have to have
3 stories, and so many, 3 windows, not necessarily ellipses, some
Mhm.
other punctuation, even if just spaces, 3 windows, 3 women, 3 stories, and then ellipsis and so many more stories at the end of the previous slide instead of on the first story.
So I maybe don't even mention young girl here.
Oh, that's okay. It's what I'm looking at is you're painting the scope. 3 windows, 3 women's, 3 stories, each inspiring, alluding to, and whatever, so many more stories on this slide. Then
This-
don't mention stories here.
The first one's not going to have stories in it, Steve. Stories are, that whole thing is mentioned in the intent. This is just going to be 3 windows, 3 women, 3 stories. That's it for the caption.
Right,
Perfect.
right,
So there's no story written there.
right.
And so many stories to imagine behind the masks of the young girl and no floating market, of the young girl. And then,
Well, I still say take the story out of this one.
yeah, I'll see about that. Yeah,
Because you don't have it in any of the others.
right. This is setting it up. That's why the ellipsis, it's a continuation. Yeah.
Right, but you say of the ellipsis of the young girl, ellipsis of the Muslim woman.
Right. Okay.
That blue one just kind of stands out a lot.
Sure does.
I'm not. Might be your intent. I love this.
The focus on the guy for the back is pretty soft.
He's not wearing a mask.
He's got it around his neck.
Yeah. I mean, look at the style of that one in the front with the kind of almost paper look. It's really different. Anyway.
What is the Y?
That's what he's kind of like. It's a sign of respect, and it's like a prayer thing. You put your hands together, and it's a Buddhist thing. You'll see the that look, the holding the hands like in kind of like a Catholic prayer in front, and basically it's with a little bit of a bow depending on the difference. And younger people give it to older people, people from lower to higher. It's a way of it's instead of a handshake in Thailand, and it's also a sign of respect. And you don't give a Y back to the kid. You know, I was always Y-ing everybody, and I wasn't supposed to.
I'm slightly bothered by the crop clip of the sleeve on the right.
Yeah, well, I usually always crop off the top of the head. That's a Nancy thing. Thank
Pretty
you.
strong image.
Thank you, though. You'll notice I'm always cropping off parts.
Yeah. Well, you could take that slightly in then.
Mm-hmm. Could. Yeah. I mean, this guy, with the woman on his tattoo and then that mask.
Happy panda.
Yeah, it really clashes with his eyes. They don't look happy at all.
Yeah.
And the Valentine's Day, I don't get.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can leave off Valentine's Day. Because I have usually mentioned, what event it might be. But not always.
This is good.
Did he pull his shirt up for you, or?
He may have, but he knew I was taking pictures. And,
He wanted to make sure you got.
I had a feeling
points there.
I can't say for sure, but he was enjoying it. Gary was next to me. He was enjoying it too. I think he got the shots too.
Yeah.
I might slightly dim down the lighting on the belly because it sort of distracts from the mask.
Good idea. I like that idea.
A little hot, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. I didn't see the mask, in fact, till afterwards.
How do you breathe through a leather mask?
That's a good question.
I don't know. This is what they call lady boys.
Oh.
I really like him.
Great composition, great color.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great.
Now, when Trisha saw this, she thought that he was somebody who was like sick and dying, and that didn't fit. And I'm like, oh no, it's the funny one. Everyone laughs. You think I should take down some of the grunge look so that it doesn't have this kind of that look?
No, I
He's
think
got
it
a
works.
pink,
He's
he has a
sleeping.
pink shirt on.
But yeah, I noticed that grunge look was awfully strong in this image.
But she is a very, very old woman, and I thought that
Ver-
it was appropriate. That was my intent.
Mhm.
It didn't seem to fit with my buddy on the last one.
You might tone it down slightly, because that can be it comes off as the image being a little more negative than I think you intend.
That's what I meant, that she saw it, she saw that, and I didn't want it to seem that I wanted everyone to laugh.
Love his foot.
And that's like very bad etiquette in Southeast Asia. You're not supposed to show the bottom of feet.
Oh,
Yeah, especially not pointed at people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's his tuk-tuk that he's sleeping in.
it looks like a lawn chair.
Yeah, it does. It's all pink and Hello Kitty stuff all over it. Anne, do you remember him? I forget his
I
name.
do. He looks very familiar.
Yeah, it's the one at the
The one
corner
out by the condo.
by the 7-Eleven.
Yep,
Always out in front of the 7-Eleven.
yep. I think I have pictures of him also. Same guy.
And every day he'd give us a Thai lesson.
Well, I didn't get the lesson.
Well, we went there 3 different
Terms.
years, so, and for like a month and a half, so. Thank you, thank you,
Okay,
thank you, thank you.
It makes a good ending picture. Sleep.
Yeah.
Sleeping, yeah.
and I thought I might actually darken the gray background just a little.
Yeah,
How come we're looking at Trisha's now?
Yeah, that at the end of it. I was spacing down. Wrong
Are
one.
we
Okay.
through with review?
What
Oh.
to do with a camel? Arriving in Rajasthan, India, I did not expect to see many camels, this being the 21st century and all, but there were many, and being used in the most unexpected ways. My intent is to illustrate some of the more unusual uses. In part, I found humor in these activities, but mostly I felt respect for the inventive way the Indians have incorporated their history into their modern life. In desert camps, camels saddled in the traditional fashion are used to give visitors an experience of nomadic desert life in the past. What to do with it? If you had a camel and an instrument, you could join a camel marching band. Not musical? You could join a precision camel drill team. Need more of a challenge? You could join a camel mounted gymnastics squad. In your spare time, you could practice gymnastic moves. If you are more of a loner, you could decorate your camel and enter a contest and perhaps win a prize. Or how about a rousing game of polo? Rajasthan has a state-sponsored camel polo league. If target practice has become boring, perhaps doing it while riding your camel would spice things up. Need some time alone for contemplation? A camel ride in the desert could just be the ticket.
You just
Or you could just hang out with your friends on a Sunday afternoon in the dunes. The middle top image, and I may have noticed this a little more, the red saturation is not even throughout. What's the term for color?
grading,
I'm sorry?
color grading.
Grading, yes.
I'm sorry, you're meaning from image to image, the red saturation isn't the same?
Yeah, it's, if you look at, let's see. Where was it? I don't know if it was the reds in this one versus say, it's more of a flat red in some of the other,
Hmm.
this is rather flat, but brighter up there. It's something you may need to scroll through a little, but the reds, I'll go back to the beginning and kind of notice the reds as
Okay.
we go through. See, that's a kind of a flatter red.
But some of them are old and faded and some are new and shiny. But you're thinking it's better if I change it to make them all pretty much the same?
Not pretty much the same, but so that they don't stand out so much, because some of the reds feel almost overblown.
Uh-huh, okay.
Save this sorry on this woman, or whatever outfit it is.
Yeah. So the upper red on this one doesn't leap out at you, but it's still a strong red. And that's very nice and even.
Same.
Something that I think about, Jennifer, and I know, I mean, they each they're funny, mostly funny. It's a very fun thing. It's that pictorially, they're almost all the same kind of distant shots so that you can see what it is you're describing. So I kind of lose, except, what I lose a lot of what the individual, when I'm looking at these right now, I can't remember which is which, except for, of course, the guns. But they look kind of all the same. And like the guy on the lone camel stands out. The one in the middle at the top stands out. But it's like the last one, I like that idea, or you just hang out. But pictorially, it's just a bunch of little tiny things. And,
Uh-huh,
and
okay.
in a lot of them, there's just the people watching that kind of takes away from the separation, like on the second one on the second row. And the same thing with the last one on the second row. there's things that are kind of distracting and don't give me the oomph that each one has when I'm looking at it, but does that make sense?
It
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
like,
I could crop the people out in those, you're saying, and make the person on the camel more prominent.
Yeah, like the second row for the second one.
Yeah,
You-
the second one and the fourth one on the
Yeah.
second row.
You can
Yes.
even clone them all out. For instance, I'm not saying that that would be the best for that, but something where, or even the building. I'm not sure, but I know that it is, they start to blend in together, and individually, each is very interesting and humorous. You meant humorous, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Tongue in cheek.
yeah. This one, is probably for next year, not for this year. So I'll have a lot of time to work on it. So these ideas are really going to be helpful. So I thank
How
you.
about if you move the bottom right one to the middle and move the lone person to the right?
Um,
don't these have to be in order?
They do have to be in order.
yeah, they do. Then I'd have to just change the story. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
just
like
a possibility.
Well, the
like everybody's there's a thought
overview
of group.
image is lesser, but in looking at the overview and seeing the busyness in so many of the images, I would consider, for example, the lower left shot of cropping in closer and just showing the upper half of the camel and the guys shooting the guns, because shooting the guns on the camelback is the point. You don't need to see the whole camel.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you did on the second row with the, I guess he's a musician or something.
And you may find you go back and look at the images you took around the same one of each one of them. There may be something that has a more of a close-up
Yep.
look.
Yeah. Well, with this one, you pretty much have to because it's a formation thing, but
Well, you
about the others, I really think that's a good point.
You could even just the guys on the left without the people in the background and like just crop in
Right, and get that closer.
rather
Because you
than,
go from that one to this one, and it's still a whole bunch of people on the tops of camels.
Love this one.
This one's closer in, but it could be even closer.
Mhm.
Cut,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
possibly. Try it.
In general, do you think it's worth working on? Is one of my
Yes.
Oh,
main
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally. Totally. See, I don't even see the gymnast. I'm just seeing all the people.
Right, if you cropped off from the right and the left and made it
Yeah.
a vertical crop, it would emphasize the acrobat much more.
Yes, I think
You
so.
want to emphasize the vertical.
Right.
I like the crowd pictures too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this guy.
I love
He's
the
my
hand.
favorite. He was just so jazzed to win that contest.
Bill Stacy's going to go there next year.
Who's going?
The long polo mallets.
Yeah. Speaking of the red, if the two red figures on the right were cropped off
Okay.
or something, or toned down, because the red pulls you away from looking at the polo player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, actually, in looking at this, not in the overview, but from here, I like it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
do I.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, now that works. The people are kind of just, yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
I love that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a picture of that very same guy
Huh.
from our trip. I recognize him.
Any shots you'd like me to go back to? I didn't do the first two, actually.
Well, I think I get the idea. Oh, these
Yeah.
guys, I just loved how they look
Yeah.
like they were laughing at us.
And that really works.
Mhm.
Yeah. Desaturate the red just a little bit.
Yeah, that's an idea, just desaturated. I mean, it was really bright. But I think in terms of the picture, it would make it better to desaturate it.
And it would balance better with the others.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good.
And darken some of the white of the poster on the right. And
Yeah,
and
okay,
the-
that's a
and
good
the-
idea too.
Or,
And
or
the guy's
e-
scarf and then the arm sticking out on the left.
the white of the pants of the knee, if it was evenly lighted with the drum and the upper right. Because
Yeah.
right now the knee is much brighter.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
And brighten his face.
yeah, that would do too.
So you got a year.
Yeah. Maybe a vignette.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It'll give me a lot to work on with this one.
I like your background color on this.
Yeah.
Oh, that I felt like the color of India, you know, just
Yeah.
that kind of saffron color.
They're beautiful.
Okay, last but not least, without an overview statement yet, did I miss it somewhere or I'm not sure.
Anne
What's it?
has something started, but she doesn't.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, this
Okay.
is just sort of a place maker for a more thought out one. But
Okay.
my idea was to look at close-ups of nature as mini abstracts, line, form, texture, and especially colors. So this is
It's a very nice image, and it's structurally, it conforms to what follows. So it makes a great intro. So maybe you can do something with your statement and still use this, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, I think I'd probably write something more complete and use something similar as the background.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I think it makes a nice intro into the structure of what follows. Red,
Pretty.
Wow.
So red is
orange,
kind of oh, never mind.
yellow, green,
Oh, cool.
blue,
Hmm.
violet,
Hmm.
black and white.
Neat.
And then you'd have the overview.
Yeah, and I don't have the overview yet either. So I'm just
In terms, all your titles are single words except this, so I would suggest monochrome as opposed to black and
Yeah.
white.
good idea.
It's amazing, Anne.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
One question I have, I'm kind of worried about, is they're gonna think, well, I have more pictures than just 9 and I'm breaking a rule.
How is that?
Oh, but they're mosaics. So, but each mosaic has multiple images in it. So
It doesn't matter. That's your point. Is your
that's my point.
But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
But some of them need work. Obviously, I'd probably substitute in other images, but this was at least the start of a concept.
Go slower.
Yeah, this red one, that pink, it stands out different. Just you might consider something about that.
And-
It's not in harmony.
And the lower right one seems awfully soft focused to where given the sharpness of the other ones,
I can sub about those with other pictures.
Yeah,
Image.
and the upper
And I'm
right.
not happy with the top right either.
Yeah.
I love the raspberries.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're great.
And my challenge was kind of to try to find different things besides flowers.
and the orange, the upper right one is not orange dominant. It's more yellow dominant, at least to my eye.
Yeah, you're right.
As the lower left is kind of brown and yellow, but orange doesn't leap out.
Ooh, and at those tide pools, there's some orange starfish that might really.
I probably have some pictures of those.
Yeah, I remember you had some of those. Tide
Pinnacle Gulch.
Bottom center, not really, yellow doesn't leap out so much.
might desaturate the blue a little, and then the yellow would stand out more. But they're nice complementary colors.
Yeah. Now, even though the top center, I like the way the black changes the contrast, I still perceive it as yellow, even though it's much darker.
As I was doing this, I kept noticing how the colors change depending on what they're next to.
Yes,
Yes.
And then alone, they would look more yellow, and then I put them next to something that was really yellow, and then it was no longer yellow. I mean, it's just
well, that's what makes it into
quicksand kind of thing.
You're paying attention to that, and getting it right is what makes this into a great portfolio.
Yeah.
And that will stand out to the judges, how you balance the adjacent colors because of the way the eye interprets color based on what's adjacent.
Yeah, because I was reading something about that color doesn't really exist with the object. It exists in your mind and what you make of it. And we don't all see the same colors the same way.
Use that in your statement.
It's not, you think
Oh,
I should
yeah,
use-
good one. Good idea.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely brilliant. I love the concept. You might want to change your black and white though, because they are not considered colors. They're considered shades. They're added 2 colors to change the color.
Right. So you would think I'd get rid of it?
Well, I don't think it fits with the concept you have here.
You need 7. And that's one of the reasons that you had the black and white. But if you make it monochrome, if you look at the one you call black and white, one of them is not a grayscale. I think the second one down on the left looks like it's a little sepia, maybe. I don't know. But you could add a little bit of tint of sepia or something to each one, or you're pointing out it's the lack of color.
I've got an idea for a different last slide. In that, how many colors? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you had each tile be one of the 6 colors.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Rainbow.
Each
Yeah. good
each
image.
mosaic would have one of each color.
Or you could just call it
Yeah,
reality.
you would have red, orange, yellow, green,
Blue,
blue.
violet, skip
Violet.
indigo.
Yeah. And that would be,
That would just be for the last slide. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. Take this out because these are shades, not colors,
Uh-huh.
and put in a slide that has each tile is a separate color.
Right. And there's 6 panels here, so it could be like that one.
Right.
You-
And the title would be red, orange, yellow, the whole string.
You know
Yeah.
what you could do? Leaving these images, put a red tint, orange tint, yellow tint, so that
Ah,
there's color.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or you could just call it lack of color. Absence, absence of color.
absence of color.
Because the subject is color, the absence of color is,
But all of them are influenced by dark and light.
yes,
None of them are pure color. So
right. I'm saying you could go different ways and keep what you have here.
well, gives me a lot of directions to think about.
Yeah.
By
See-
October the 31st.
Right. Well, when you look at this one, see how vivid the red is,
Right.
how strong the green is. The
The
lower
mosaic
right
should
is
have that.
kind of gray, but
Yeah.
and it's 8 tiles instead of 6. So anyway,
Very strong idea. Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
that was
if-
what I was trying to find out if it was really worth pursuing or not. I thought
Oh,
I'd throw
yeah,
an
I think
idea
so.
out there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you all.
very good.
That was fun.
Great
Really
work.
fun.
And
Good
useful.
job.
Very
Great
useful.
work.
And
Wow.
more people are entering this year. Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll sweep again.
Yes, right. I hope
I
so.
think so.
Thanks for all the inputs, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Nice
Thank
night.
you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Really good
Yeah.
feedback.
Team SRPS.
Yes.
Team SERPs.
Oh, Ellen
Thank you.
asked me to kind of take a poll, although we don't have very many people here. She only got a few answers on who wants to go to the food court. She came back from Colombia with a case of COVID, so probably won't be there unless she tests negative by Sunday. She's wondering whether people would prefer to postpone it or continue to have it this Sunday.
Let's
I'm
postpone it. so
I'm
she
on
can be there.
vacation.
Yeah,
I have a
leave the
sick
next
dog.
morning, so I'm a little,
It's hot. Yeah, it's supposed to be hot.
yeah, it's supposed to be 85 at least.
Yeah.
It's a great place. I was there about a month ago.
Oh, you were? Yeah, I
Yeah,
might try
it
it,
was
but I
during
don't know
the-
that Sunday is the right day to do it. Okay,
Exactly.
I'll let her know what you've said.
Monday would probably be
Oh.
really crowded,
Yeah.
but anyway, and hot. So
Okay,
Hope she gets
All right.
better.
yeah.
good
hope
night,
she gets better.
everybody. It was
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Nice
Good night.
night.
Good stuff.